Hey.
No.
Hey, Zoe, how the heck are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I honestly, this is about as excited as I get. So I am doing so good. I just honestly, I woke up this morning at 3 a.m. and I was like, oh, I'm going to talk to Zoe today. And then I thought 3 a.m. is too early, so I tried to go back to bed, and I tried really hard, and I just couldn't sleep because I was all excited about this conversation. So.
That is amazing.
I'm excited about that stuff. So how is everybody doing today in the chat? I'm trying to get an understanding of like where everyone is coming from because I'm on YouTube. I'm on, we're on Twitter, we're on LinkedIn. So wherever you're at, let us know in the chat where you're coming to us from, where we're seeing. And then what time did you get up this morning? Were you up at 3 a.m. like I was, excited about talking to Zoe? Or did you not even remember that it was going on and like call in like bare moments before the live stream kicked off? And
But I have to tell you, I was up at 6:30 in the morning, but I was up
okay.
to midnight working on direct lake modeling. So
Oh yeah. Oh gosh. Oh, I gotta tell you, I am so jealous that you get to work on this stuff like way ahead of time with this stuff. So like this stuff's all old hat to you and whatnot. But I guess it's probably was buggy at first, so I'm sure there's some issues there. But okay. All right. We look like we got Houston, Tina, and 5 a.m. Yeah, 5 a.m. is a good time to get up, I think. Narajan, we see all sorts of people coming in. Good deal. Good deal. Is that a usual time for you, Zoe? Or getting up at 6?
around
6:30?
6 or 7, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get up earlier, but yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, has that changed now that you're not working in the office?
Well, I am working in office sometimes. So,
Okay.
but I've been remote for longer than COVID before that. So it's kind
Oh,
of
really?
weird so it was actually when I started Microsoft, I actually started going back into the office a little bit.
Like
So I've had an office for over 15 years.
oh, really? Wow. How okay, all right. Well, I've already got so many questions. I do want to make sure that we kind of like line some of this stuff up here because while I have a whole list of questions that I want to dig into, I do want everyone to realize like these questions are for everybody, and so please, if you have questions, we are following the guy in the cube, Matthew Roach rules, right? So please prefix your question with a Q. Then I'll get them all queued up so that we can go through and we can answer them. I got a little special way where I can hold off to the side, so please post that there. Please don't spam or repeat questions. It could just we'll block those and stuff like that. Just for awareness sake though, and Narachan is asking about this as well. I'm in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Typically I'm up between 4 a.m., 5 a.m., so 3 a.m. is a bit early for me. Zoe, are you in Redmonton or where you hail from?
Yeah, I'm in Redmond, Washington. So
okay. Awesome. And you've been working. Oh, okay. Well, we're going to get into all that stuff really, really soon. I do have a few updates I want to make sure people are aware of. So, and frankly, it's a big shout out and thank you to everyone who joined the live stream and donated to last Friday. We did a Save Maui live stream where we talked about data flows Gen 2 and we talked about how we can bring data into Fabric. But we also really worked hard on raising money for the people of Maui. And I am here to say we raised $2,000 went to the people of Maui in our live stream last week. So great job, everyone. People over in Maui really need help and assistance. So Maui Strong is a fantastic organization. You can donate to them. They are on the ground. They have people there. They're actively giving out water, food, and clothes today and every day until the people are taken care of. So it's a great organization to donate to. At least as far as I know, I haven't heard anything better than that. So that's a good one to use. Okay. But today we're going to be getting into my favorite. Before we get into my favorite topic, I want to know, Zoe, how did you get into technology? And when you were a little girl and you were like lining up as what I want to do for my life, and you had your like, I don't know what as a child, like I played superhero and firefighter. I like superhero more than firefighter, but those were the two I kind of thought of. How did you go from like what you were thinking about as a child to where you are today?
Yeah, so I mean that's not a straightforward path either, right?
Oh
So,
yeah.
so what I first wanted to be was like a veterinarian, and then like a flight attendant, and then I got into school, and then I decided I liked computers a lot,
Okay.
and so I actually wanted to be a developer, and then I decided I actually wanted to be an astrophysicist. But then it turned out it was a little bit more lucrative to get into data analysis, and I figured that would help in an eventual career if I ever switched over to anything sciencey. Anything with data analytics would be good. So I ended up moving to Washington, and I got a position doing data analysis with Excel, and then that led to kind of contracting around, and then eventually Power BI. And once I found Power BI, I was very excited, and that's where I stayed. So that's kind of that path. And so then I focused on my studying on data management, data analytics, and then I joined the Power BI team a year and a half ago. So
That
as a
is fantastic. I think it's important for us to like hit on these journeys because most people don't start off at 5 years old going, playing with Barbies, playing with GI Joes, and then like, oh, you know what? I want the data analyst Barbie or the data analyst GI Joe guy, right? Like that's not a thing, right? So I like people to understand like it's a journey that we all are on, and we've now found ourselves in this wonderful place where we're getting together as data as that focal point to bring people together. So I'm super excited about that. Okay. So everyone who's used to the live stream, but you know that this is a lunch and learn, so fully expect you guys are going to be like eating along and listening as we go. So we are going to kick it off. We're going to take our communal sip of our preferred beverage, be it coffee, tea, hot chocolate. My case, it's a Kickstart. I'm not paid for this. Mountain Dew, call me.
You should get some sponsors there, Chris.
Yeah. But grab your beverage of choice and let's take a sip, and then we'll dive into it. All right.
Yes.
Awesome. All right.
Cold coffee.
What's that?
I said mine is cold coffee.
Oh, cold coffee. All right. I like cold coffee because then you can really drink it, right? Like, oh no.
It's just been sitting there for a couple hours.
Okay. Oh, awesome. All right. So today we are talking direct lake, and specifically, I want to talk about this because I think this might be one of, if not the biggest feature that's been introduced with Fabric. I've kind of held off on it because we didn't have the XMLA endpoints, and so my viewers, I'm sure you've probably heard of it, but let's make sure everyone's up to speed on what the heck is direct lake, what's the value prop, that type of a thing. Zoe, could you give us a little explanation of that?
Sure. So Direct Lake is awesome, obviously. So it's going to be directly on your lakehouse tables. And so it's taking all the benefits of import model, right? So you get all the data right there. You get to do, it's really fast, right? And taking away the drawback, which you have to schedule refreshes. And there's some movement of data happening. And so now we're just sitting right on top of the lakehouse tables on those Delta tables, and we can read them natively, right? So it's all the benefit of direct query, real time, whatever it's in the lake, we're going to get it. And you can also bring in massive amounts of data. Like you can put a ton of data in the lake house and reread it, and it is super fast, right? So you can get all that data and give it to your users and have reports. It's really amazing. Like I have a little script I can generate that creates me a little model, right? And I can create 1 billion rows and put it in Lakehouse, and then I'm modeling, and then I have my report. Everything's beautiful and fast, right? And I can do that really quickly within like 15 minutes. And And then I decided, well, what does this actually, well, how much data did I generate? Like, let me go import it into desktop and try that, right? So I got to about 40 million rows of my 1 billion rows of data. And that was 700 megabytes in the PBX file. And the seeing it spin in desktop and like seeing it count and everything really brought home like how much data that was, and how, and the response rate on the Direct Lake is half a second for
Wow.
all the data to show in the visual. I mean, and that's ridiculously fast. And so yeah, so Direct Lake is in a nutshell awesome.
That is just incredible. And I just want to preface it, or I want to recap to make sure I can explain it. So what Power BI Direct Lake allows you to do is, instead of loading data into your model, you can go directly against the files in OneLake and save yourself all the processing, all of the efforts when it comes to loading that data, scheduling refreshes. All of that stuff is gone, so I don't have to worry about any compute in there. I don't have to spend that time. I can cut that. In fact, I was looking at some of my like internal load processes. That last step of loading my models was sometimes 30% of my compute spend. So you're saying I just eliminate all of that, right?
Yeah.
So do I still have to worry about partitions?
I'll defer that question. I don't think
Okay.
so. So
Okay.
that I would say no, but that might get a bit more into the nitty gritty there. So.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. And so that's fantastic. And you said you loaded all this stuff. What are the caps? Can I have a like 40 petabyte model now?
Well, you can try it, Chris, and let me know. I mean, I'm not 100% sure on the caps, right? So
Okay.
but those are still kind of also under discussion.
Okay.
So those, as that information is available, we'll put that up publicly. But
Okay.
But right now, I mean, give it a go. Find, tell me if you've reached that cap.
Okay, all right. The reason I ask is at the Ignite conference when it was announced, like I watched this over and over again. Arun was talking about putting MS Sales, your internal Microsoft Sales solution, on top of OneLake, and that's 40 terabytes of data. And to me, that just, I mean, the largest Power BI. What's that?
And I've played with that one.
So. And it works.
Yeah, it works.
Holy crap and a cracker. That's just amazing. What are the performance speeds like? Is it truly like as fast as in memory at that scale, or what?
I mean, it's really hard to actually. That's what do you think? So I was putting it in import. We wanted to test to say, okay, fine, is it faster than import? But at those really high speeds, those really high volumes, I mean, it's very tricky to get that into import. Right. So how am I supposed to put the data in import and compare it to the thing? The thing is, it blows away direct query, obviously.
Sure.
So, and that's your only other really option in that scenario. So.
Okay. Now, okay, that's an excellent point. I just, so if you scale it down and let's say you take it and look at like a 300 gig model or a very large model, or let's say something reasonable like what a lot of people have. If a lot of people are using P1s, so that means their models are 10-ish gigs in size.
Yep.
How is the performance on that?
So I'm not. So there is someone we do have team doing kind of performance testing on that. I don't have the latest, but that's what we're using to benchmark. We want to, we definitely want to get there. If we're not there, I think we are. Like they're trying to figure out if there's any issues there. What are the issues, and working out through the public preview, right? Okay. But that is exactly what we're doing, right? We're performance testing it on smaller models to make sure that we are meeting those things, because that's what we want. That's the idea, right?
Sure.
Me too, Donald.
Now, I've got a question for you. I have kind of struggled on like creating a model from scratch, having it go against Direct Lake, or more important, actually, let me strike that. Taking a model that I have that's import and then converting that model over to running off of DirectLake files, and I've made sure like my tables are the same,
Yep.
right? Like it's the same data type, same. I mean, it is the same, right? Like SQL Server,
So
my
same
lake
schema.
house, yeah,
Yep.
same schema, right? What are what are some of the challenges there that exist in getting that up and running, or what
Well,
are
so
the
what are some of the challenges that you face doing that?
well, it just like gave me weird errors on like it would not load, it wouldn't connect. It would say like the first ones were okay, you can't have like DirectLake and other data types.
Yes,
Okay, that's fine.
composite, correct.
So eliminate the other imported tables and stuff like that. So I was just down to like one. Actually, I had a fact table and a dimension table, and
Okay.
I attempted to like switch that to be like okay, that's the model. Let me point that to the DirectLake, and it says wouldn't allow. You know, it was giving me a similar error and stuff. Like
Hmm.
what's the
You
best way to do a conversion, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I mean, that's a great question, right? I haven't actually tried to do a full conversion just yet,
Okay.
right?
All
So
right.
so full disclosure there. I mean, we just opened up the XMLA endpoint, right? So, you know, it is something it's on my list to actually try, but I
Okay.
was a little bit distracted because, you know, we're looking at getting calc group authoring calc groups onto the DirectLake model. So I was testing out that stuff internally. So that's exciting.
Oh.
So that's a little
Okay.
preview. That should be coming soon. But I can tell you that it
Well,
is
actually, right there, you may have defined the issue that I had. Are calc groups not supported? What else
not
is
right now,
not
but it
right
will
now?
be
Yeah,
very
yeah, yeah, yeah. And so viewers, like, there's where we are today, and there's where we're going to be by GA and stuff, right?
Yep.
Right. So, like,
Correct.
understanding that these steps in this process is totally normal, and like, I 100% I think we should expect this, right? Like I'm on board. Let's go on the journey. And so I'm trying to understand like what are the things, you know, those pipes that are gonna hit me in my head. What do I have to do to avoid those? So
Yeah,
calc groups
some of
is
the
what
limitations, right? So
yeah.
there's a lot of limitations. So we have, you know, so you can only go through the one lake house right now. We want to obviously make it so you can get from multiple. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you can't have import tables, you can't have direct query tables, you know, you can't have those composite experiences and all those kind of things, right? And there's a full listing on the Learn docs.
Okay.
Of kind
Okay.
of so on the XMLA and on the direct lake one, there's a thing, there's some data types, blah blah blah, right? So there's a bunch of things that we're looking at allowing soon, right? But we're
Okay.
prioritizing and you know, and it's, you know, coordinating and doing all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, so I mean, I now we have the XMLA. We can try, you know, you can try these migration things and see where we run into. But with the XMLA, I would have thought it actually would have, you know, once you kind of figured out the how to set it up so it's coming from your direct lake, you've got an example, right? You've already done one, and then you kind of paste and kind of getting it all together and having it run, right? And you have to make sure the compat level's right. You have to make sure all those things are in place. So I think it's 1604.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah. It's
so
definitely 1604 for people who are
exactly.
watching. That makes tons of sense.
So, but yeah, but I actually haven't tried it, Chris. So I am really intrigued. So I'm going to try it later.
Okay.
I'll let you know how I go and if I can give you any assistance there. But yeah, but I mean that's something, you know. Right now we did something XMLA. You know, before that you had to do web modeling anyway, so you had to kind of create it from scratch, right? Which
Right.
was
Right.
not the most ideal situation, but it
No.
would be good for, you know, just to kind of test it. So
But actually, that's a good point. So, best path forward right now, like if
mhm.
you're watching the live stream and you're like, you know what, I want to try creating a direct lake model, would you say the best path is create your lake house, make sure your schemas are aligned,
Mhm.
then open up your, like, especially if you're like enterprise engineer, like I use Tabular Editor 3 or Tabular Editor 2 all the time.
Mhm.
Um, Open up that connection inside Tabular Editor, and you know, can I use Tabular Editor to define all my joins? Because I hate like if I have a handful of joins, no big deal. But if I've got like 150 joins to make, dragging and dropping them stinks. I'd rather just copy them over. Will that work right now?
I'm not 100% sure on
Okay.
that
All
one.
right. All right.
So
All right.
honest,
Fair
honestly.
enough. Okay. All right. All right. All right.
I do know
Um,
that. So one of the things I am bringing in soon as well is the Model Explorer, right?
okay.
And that's actually going to. So we already have a part of that work. So I have also the editing of relationships in the properties pane, and that is actually available in web modeling.
Okay.
And once we bring in the Model Explorer to desktop, and then hopefully and then soon follow to web modeling, we're looking at that right now.
Okay.
I'm also bringing in creating a relationship through the properties pane. So
Okay.
that way you would have ability to have kind of just the blank properties pane, and you can just enter things in and then hit apply, right? So it's not as easy, of course, as bulk doing it and stuff like that, or copy pasting from another model, whatever you wanted to do in Tablet Editor or
Hmm.
in Simulate. But that is, so you don't at least have to go find it and drag it to some table which may or may not be in the current field of view of your model view.
Right.
You would be able to just kind of create them in the properties pane and click apply.
Well,
So
honestly, I think that would be fabulous for a
that's coming
cloud
soon.
version.
Yeah.
Really? Like, what do you mean by soon?
I can't tell you exactly when. That's why I said soon. If I could tell you exactly when, I would.
Okay, all right, all right.
There's a
But
lot of things that go into this
is this
relationship.
a
Okay?
before Christmas thing? Is this after Christmas? What, like,
Before the end of the year.
before the end of the year?
Before the end of
Okay,
the year for desktop, we're still working through some stuff with web modeling. So
awesome, awesome, awesome. And oh, this is a great question. I like this one. Um, if I committed Snowflake as my data source, in order to get the benefit of Direct Lake, I have to import data to Direct Lake. Is there any plans for shortcuts to Snowflake as they have with S3 or ADLS Gen 2?
that one I have to get back to you. I really don't
Okay.
know the answer to that one. I'm so sorry. So
Okay.
direct lake stuff, like so my focus really is kind of on the modeling capabilities of direct lake.
Okay.
Uh, and that's more kind of lake house and what connectivity is available to it. So that part, I mean, I would love to have full visibility on all of those things, but unfortunately I don't. I have also been my focus areas, I've just taken on the direct lake modeling piece.
Sure.
But before that, it's the DAX query view, model explorer, pro tooling, and all that kind of stuff. So those have been my focus. So unfortunately, I don't know all of the answers to these questions. So
Well, hang on a second. You said something there.
I did.
Pro tooling. What
Yes.
pro tooling?
Well, pro tooling, just adding all these features that
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Okay. All right.
it's the bucket.
Okay. All right. All right. Because
So bringing in stuff that would
the
help.
pros use.
It would help in desktop and also web modeling
Gotcha.
and stuff like that.
All right. So and that's all very fair, and I think that makes a ton of sense. BI simplifier. Just so you know, Chris Webb and some equivalent bigwigs over at Snowflake have published a best practices guide. It's like 40 steps or 40 things you have to do and set up. Do look for it online. I'm not going to be able to find it this quickly, but it's like best practices for setting up Power BI and Snowflake connectivity. It's really pretty good. And some of the benefits of their recommended pattern is it talks about aggregating data in Power BI so that the things that are being queried often are cached a singular time, and just the only details go back into the Snowflake solution. And it's a little tricky to get it set up, but it's 100% worth it because it helps you balance out your costs in Snowflake versus your costs in Power BI. So do check that out. Okay, and with that said, like as you're looking at Direct Lake, what
Mm-hmm.
happens to, or what are the thoughts or conversations people are having around functionality like aggregates, right? So we use aggregates to shrink the size of our models so that we can get performance and we can get these in place. Is the conversation going to be around like we'll still leverage those or no? Is it like, you know what, no, this is just gonna be so fast you're not gonna have to worry about it, or what's the conversation around the water cooler?
Yeah, I mean, currently, there is no need, right? We can read it fast and it's coming in and it's good, right? That's more about kind of how we're reading it from the source.
Hmm.
But most of the conversations is, we want to get obviously a lot more modeling features available to Direct Lake. We want it to have, ability to migrate correctly, like you said before, right? We want to have these experiences in place. We want to be able to have you be able to quickly leverage Direct Lake and use all the stuff you want to use on it. But yeah, for those kind of things that are, there's no need right now. I mean, eventually, obviously those are gonna maybe come in, but they're not priority because other things like we want to have composite models, we want to have mixed, tables and bring in all kinds of other stuff. There's other stuff that we'd like to get out sooner.
Well,
That's going to be a higher benefit. We want to pick the stuff that's going to be highest benefit to get you guys up and running on Direct Lake and liking it, and using it, so that we can continue on that path.
Well, I am super excited about this because I think this is a fantastic direction. I sent it was probably the equivalent of a scathing email several years ago saying, what are we going to do about these size limits? Like this can't, we can't operate under this. While many people have 10 gig models, I think the reason why lots of people use 10 gig models is that's all that, they can afford. Right. That's all you can do. Right. Like, you're really going to bias your sample model size when that's what people are capped at. Right.
Yeah.
And so I was super, super excited when they announced this and when they came up with this, because like it was kind of a nasty email around that, which the answer was like, hold on, we'll set you up and it's gonna be fine. And I was not confident. I was like, this is a problem, and like you've got this, right? Like I was wrong. The response and the feedback was right. You've got this. This is a good direction we're heading in. You mentioned you're prioritizing other features that we'll see before things like aggregations. Yeah. What are some of those features? And can you talk about what the conversation is? Because like you said, some of these things like won't be necessary because we have Direct Lake. So
exactly. And so that's kind of stuff that I'm investigating right now as well. Like what do we do first? What do we next? Like calc groups are coming very soon, right? Okay. And that's because that is a feature that would be very helpful, and it's something. So we have to always how much effort, how much time. I mean, we don't want to leave you waiting, right? To get an email response back saying, yeah, we got this covered, just be patient, is not fun from your side either. It's not fun for our side. Sure, right? Trust me, I see stuff that, my engineers do. I'm like, let's ship it now. Why are we waiting on this? What do you mean we have to like integrate with all these things? Just ship it. So, like the stuff like, the DAX preview, I mean, like we've been doing that for, and when I first started, I saw these demos of Direct Lake, and that was a year and a half ago. And I'm like, why are we putting this out now? And it took a long time for those things to get pushed out, make sure we're covering everything, make sure it's a good experience, make sure, we don't take out the whole thing. I mean, there's a lot of considerations that go into that. So, and that was probably, because before I was on the part team, I was consulting in Power BI. I had my consultancy. I was doing Power BI every day. And, I was on the customer side of things, on you guys. I'm like, why does this take so long? Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this and not this? And I see it, and then I got the product team, I'm like, oh, okay. I get it. I'm gonna get it now. And I'm like, I want to do this. And they're like, well, well, Zoe, that's fantastic, but that will take us this long. And that will take us a whole year of all of our devs working on that 100%. And then we wouldn't do anything else. And I'm like, okay, fine. I guess that makes sense. So know that like, these are the very everyone is very aware, like we want everything out as soon as possible. We want things that are going to bring value, and we want to get it in a way that makes sense, right? So but yeah, so lots of things happening around the world, and of course, a lot of focus also on kind of co-piloting stuff as well. How we're going to do that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of different things happening, but, Direct Lake is top of the list, right? So that's one of the things we are absolutely focusing on. We have a lot of resources thrown into it, and trying to get, an idea of kind of what we want to do, when we want to do it, how we're going to do it, how we can get it out as fast as possible.
Okay. You said two little things in there. I would like you to first tell me a little bit more around. One is I think it's very beneficial to understand a little more around the process Microsoft follows for selecting features, for prioritizing some things, not prioritizing others, right? Like there's this guy who like posts memes every day about like totals being wrong, and I will admit I kind of get where he's going. Like the math doesn't really add up, but the math adds up, right? So I understand like why that wasn't a feature that was pulled in, but
Mhm.
can you talk about like how do you evaluate when you're looking at the breadth and scope of everything that is inside of a tabular model, and when it comes to like bringing forward and bringing that parity between deployments, how do you handle that? How do you make those decisions?
Well, so thankfully that is above my pay grade. So that is, the leadership takes a look at that, they look at all the different teams across, everything. And we have our own engineering teams and our own PMs and our own blah. And those decisions are made by leadership, right? And so then it kind of trickles down. But the idea is to get that kind of cohesive experience, right? And so
Mhm.
make sure our teams are working together, and that what we're building all works together with everybody. So yeah, so it's not like a definitive answer there,
Okay.
but it is carefully, those are big discussions, right? And those are the
Mhm.
teams come, and we can see the ideas, we see the customer feedback, and that is used heavily in those discussions, right? So if we get a lot of customer feedback on those ideas forms, stuff like that, and stuff that we can actually accomplish, and stuff that's going to kind of align to the vision, like the long-term vision, right? And those are the
Mhm.
stuff that's going to get pushed through. So
Oh,
delivering world-class BI profession, delivering all this data that you can now model, and you can now see, from the direct lake experience, like that is a huge vision, right? The fabric vision is huge, right? So everything was kind of had to align to that vision to pull it off, right?
gosh, that makes a ton of sense. And I always, when I lay out these types of examples, I always talk about like, hey, you know what? There's this castle on the hill, right? Like, and that's where we're headed, and we're
Yeah.
moving, we're trying to get there, and we're here. Here's how we're going to go there to like avoid the mountains and avoid the swamp of despair.
Yeah.
And right, we're
Yeah.
going to get there.
The swamp
And
despair, engineering work that's going to get deleted.
yes, yeah, right. And so I imagine that's got to be really difficult when you know about the castle and no one else knows about the castle, right? Like I'm sorry, I can't talk about the
That's
castle,
true.
right?
It's true. And like the castle is like we can't tell it unless we have we want to have this moment to tell you this beautiful castle. And yeah, like we're getting there, guys. We're getting there. So you have a people who have blindfolds basically, and like we're going to this really cool place.
Yeah, right. It's gonna be awesome, and we're gonna continue to talk in these general terms, but it will be cool. And then, and I think that really makes sense because the reality is we're always moving towards a castle on the hill, right?
Mhm.
And it's not always, like we know about this Microsoft Fabric castle on the hill that we're headed towards, and I'm on board. But I've talked with Arun, I've talked with Amir, I've talked with like people. Those they're not ones who like stop, right?
No.
Like we're not gonna get there and be like, well, there we are, one castle down, right?
Like cool, let's decorate our castle. Nope,
Right,
that's not
right.
a
Yeah.
castle.
So there's going to be a new castle that's going to be out there, if not one already today. And so that
I
makes
still think we're on the path to this castle. So
what's that?
I still think we're on the path to this castle. So I think we're
Okay,
good for now. But
all
yes.
right, oh, okay, all right. So this is a castle we're talking about. I guess my point is that
Yeah.
there's always something next in the horizon, and so when we see a feature that we would really like, why are you not doing this? It's because it might be because there's something that is outside of our view, over the edge of that hill that we're not aware of. So I think
Yeah.
that makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, exactly. There's a multiple ways to address, and we address the, we try to address the customer pain point, not
Sure.
just a specific thing, right? So if that
Mhm.
specific thing is not going to do it, then they'll would de-invest and reinvest in a different approach, which is interesting to see. But yes.
Okay. And then you said it, so you're gonna have to talk
What did
more
I say
about
now?
it. The other thing that you mentioned was Copilot.
Yes.
So we saw some incredible demos at Ignite around
Yes.
Copilot and Power BI, where we can leverage like a Chat GPT on top of our Power BI data sets.
Mm-hmm.
We can use Copilot to create reports.
Mm-hmm.
Was that vaporware? When are we going to see those things? Like, I mean, I like Pixar video, movies as much as the next guy, but like, when is that like a tangible thing that we're going to be able to see?
I can tell you that at least in all my demos, those are builds. I mean, those are working builds. It was not, Figma magic. It was not a thing. And, I have to work around some of our limitations, but those are working things. I can, I actually can play with it. And so, which is, kind of mean to say, I guess. But I mean, these are things we're actually building, right? So
Okay.
as usual, coming soon. But these are things we're actually doing. There's a lot of effort into it, a lot of thought around it, a lot of discussion about how it's going to work together. So I can tell you that much. Not much else, unfortunately. But
Well, okay, so like the whole like uh, Chat GPT on top of so that we can get a narrative and what's going on inside of
I mean, some of it is Figma magic, but mine weren't.
um so but when are we going to be able to see like a visual, because that narrative is one that I get
It
asked
is
about
very cool. It is
like
very
10
cool.
times a day, right? Like,
Wish
oh,
I
when
could
will
give
you
you
have
a
that?
date, Chris, but it's coming soon.
So before Christmas or after Christmas?
I'm not even going to go with that with
Okay.
Copilot.
All right. So around Christmas.
And that one's
maybe.
not mine either, right? So,
Oh, okay. All right.
mine is the one in DAX Query View.
Okay.
And we're trying to get that as soon as possible. Even then, but it's coming soon, and there's a lot of hoops to go through. Make sure we get it right, get it out good, get it out nicely, making sure it's a good experience. Make sure we cross all our T's and dot all our I's.
Okay.
But it's fantastic.
Okay. Oh, wait. You said you're doing the ChatGPT DAX ChatGPT?
The one in DAX Query View. So, right, we'll
Okay.
have a little, we'll help you write DAX queries, right? So that's the one that I'm focusing on, and getting that one through and trying to get that out to you guys as soon as possible.
Interesting. All right. Well, were you at the MVP summit?
I was, yes.
Okay. So you know my opinion on that one.
I don't know if I know your opinion on it, but yeah, I was there. I didn't get to see all the MVP summits, and I didn't get to
Okay.
see
All right. All right.
so I was only there with the moderating Christians. So.
Oh, okay. All right. I would have, and I guess everyone's working on a GPT something. I had just said if I had my preference of where we spend research and money right now on that area, it would be on the modeling front, getting people to like, how the heck do you create an actual good star schema?
Yep.
No one seems like they know that. All right, like that is that.
It takes a while to get to that level, okay? I've had many
I think if you do that right, if you have a star schema right, your DAX and the need to create a DAX table just suddenly like, well, that's a niche solution then, right?
I mean, I can tell you that the product group is fully aware, right? Once you get the modeling right, there's a whole bunch of things that open up, and everything's a lot happier all the way downstream, right? And so that's something that is also being looked at as well, right?
Okay.
So more stuff. That one is more of a cross collaboration on that one as well. But yeah, that is definitely something that is being discussed. I mean, Absolutely, 100%. We want to have models that are good and performant and make sense, and you can utilize for, all kinds of things. Your
Right.
reports are good, metrics are good, things are happy. I mean, there's a whole bunch of, the model is kind of the core, right?
Hmm.
Everything flows from that. And so once you get that nicely, even Copilot works better, everything works better.
Yeah, yeah, right. Like that's the source of it. So, and now that you mentioned that, I guess I would see how this could be down more of a data engineering path, and like, okay, hey, this should really be like Chat GPT for your Python or for your Power Query. Like, looks like you're trying to create a dimension. Here's your best. I don't know, something like that. So I
Exactly.
could,
I mean, there's a lot of paths to it, right? And there's a lot
right.
of intersection points that come into place. Like, where are you starting? Where are you at? Right? And there's a lot of stuff that goes into that. So even
Hmm.
without Copilot, I mean, you have to have a good relationship with your data engineer as
Yep.
a Power BI modeler. Like, so hey, about that, how you did my date table. Can we discuss this a little? And those GUID keys, can we like rethink those? Right?
Oh, that's interesting. Has yes, GUI keys are not faster than integers, right? That's right.
So anyway, so what I'm saying is, like, those are problems we have now anyway, without Copilot being brought into the situation, right? So how do we improve on that? So please, if people don't know
Yeah,
what a dimension is,
right,
it's
right.
true.
Just that
You
basic
know?
understanding is way past people.
And even it's not even just like, one is terminology, and also it's just the concept of
Hmm.
having something that could be reused by multiple fact. Maybe you don't even care. Maybe you only have one fact table, but having, and what does that mean, and how does that impact? And I think that is a big challenge, right? And it's something we're aware of and actively, kind of looking into that area to improve.
So you also said, "Hey, data engineer, that thing you did to the date dimension. Can we talk about that?"
Yeah, yeah.
Has there been talk about making it aware of downstream impacts and like, no, please don't make the following change because you're gonna screw over all your Power BI report engineers, or here's the list of people you're gonna screw over, right?
Exactly. So when the data engineer goes and, like, changes a column, like, well, there are about 50,000 things attached to that.
Right, right. The downstream impact is 40 billion. Like, oh,
Yeah, exactly.
maybe we shouldn't do that change, right?
As much as we can, of course, we'd love to surface these things. I'm not 100% sure on that, especially because that's more into the lake house, kind of warehouse teams, and then so. But I do believe it's on there. I think I do mention it
Well, good.
every time I see them.
Well, and so I did post into the chat ideas.fabric.microsoft.com. And
Yeah,
clearly, I can't be a member of the product team because I can't remember what the shortened version of that is. Like, what is it, Zoe?
I have no idea.
Oh no, that's going in your employee review. Does not know the
Thanks for telling
shortened.
me. I have a lot of. I can tell you the one for calc groups. It's aka.ms/calc groups, but calculation groups. But but
Okay.
I can't tell you the one for the ideas. There is one for the ideas forum. I know there is one, but yeah, I couldn't tell you it off the top of my head. I'm so sorry.
Everyone spews it off so fast. It's like I miss it every single time, and I watch so many of these things. So, like, okay,
I wish Alex Powers were here. He could tell me all the aka.ms. Okay, I'll bring him next time.
yeah. Hey, Alex, what's the AKA for Microsoft?
Exactly.
Oh, that's funny. Um, all right, so you're working on calc groups.
Yeah.
What is next? Let's say you get calc groups done. Like you're using Copilot inside of Microsoft, and Copilot is running and generating code for you right now while we speak, and you get done with this live stream, and that's all locked down. What's the
Hmm.
next thing on your roadmap to tackle?
I mean, there's a lot of things I would like to do, right? But
Uh huh.
whether, there's a lot of things. It really depends on kind of the direction that we want to go. I mean, the stuff that we're talking about here is these are all long things. It's stuff we're going to be working on a while, right? So we get it out, we'll get, just we'll get the functionality that we think is minimum enough to ship it, right? And then we're going to add. And we're going to add to those functionalities, right? So that's kind of where, I would say my focus would be going forward. But of course, then, my manager gets to pick where my focus is going to go on these things. But personally, I mean, I think we got enough with just kind of focusing on these direct lake scenarios, the tooling, making sure we're creating good models. How do we help people create good models? Bringing in all the modeling features, right? I mean, all of these things, bringing in existing modeling features, tooling, right?
Well,
I mean,
and I guess that's my point. Like you said, there's this long list of things that are not compatible today. And you're gonna knock out calc groups, and I'm gonna presume that you're gonna do a great job of that, and it will be done as quick as it can be. Mm-hmm. What's the next non-compatible thing that you think is going to be taken on?
Yeah, so I mean, I wouldn't even. I don't want to put that up publicly, to be honest.
All right.
That's everything in there. I want to do everything, right? But publicly, we're not committed to anything yet. So.
Okay,
we'll do that in the next wave, right?
I think, I understand you're not going to commit to the order, but I think Vanessa here has a good question. Can you comment on what is GA going to be like for Direct Lake? When we say Direct Lake is GA, is that going to be feature parity with our code development? And so then we're not going to see Direct Lake go to GA for a year or two, or is it going to be some lesser version of that? What have you defined what MVP is for Direct Lake?
Yeah, so that's a little different as well, right? Mm-hmm. So that one is probably not something that I'm that I'm in control of, like that I can do some part of the Direct Lake, but that part is definitely a little bit higher than me.
Sure.
And those and we don't want to wait too long. Right.
Okay.
So I don't think that the current direction is not to wait 4 years and then declare it GA. Okay. Right. So that should, be clear soon.
Okay. So it's not going to be everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But we're here today. Are we like how much trying to understand like what and what I'm just trying to understand, like, what does it mean for GA? Have we talked about what that's going to be like? Like, you've got to have, and I presume you have row level security, right?
So as I said, not one I'm in charge of, so I couldn't actually speak to it anyway.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. We will not hold your feet.
I will say that there is some really cool conferences coming up that you should check out too, though.
Really? Yeah. Which conferences are we talking about here?
I mean, we have the two big ones, right? So we Ignite and Build.
Okay.
Right? So always come to Ignite and Build, and so there are conferences always coming up. And we have the Power Platform Conference. Do you know when that one is, Chris?
That's in October.
So
that one looks really good. Yeah.
So we have all these conferences coming up, right? So that's when you'll hear like the big announcements, right? That's where we share our big announcements, right? So always go to the conferences, because that's when you'll hear these big announcements that are going to be these big things that you're asking, right? When are we GAing? When are we bringing stuff out? What does the castle look like? Those are the moments we're going to choose to reveal those things, right? So, and Pass is in November, yes. So we have Ignite and Pass at the same time. I think they're overlaying a bit. We have the Power Platform Conference. We have Build next year, right? These are the things that, so always, if you can get I think I'm not 100%. I know that we've done them for like online, right? And you can do those for free. And also, we now have it in person as well. So always check those, because those are always going to be when we're going to do these big announcements, right?
Yeah, and spot on. You're spot on, and I guess it's pretty unfair for us to ask you those questions, holding your feet to the fire. But you did an excellent job. I don't think you tipped your hat into anything that other than some fabric conference in December.
So maybe, possibly, okay. don't know. I could have just made that up. I think I dreamt that one, just so you know.
Okay, and frankly, that is a legit thing. Uh, I've been I've dreamt of a fabric data conference in Wisconsin Dells in the second week in September for like several years, right? Like have you ever been to Wisconsin Dells?
No.
Wisconsin Dells is amazing. It is the water park like capital of the world. They've got these huge water parks, and because it's Wisconsin, a huge percent of them are indoors. So you can go into these things year round. And like in September, those places are a ghost town. I put together a Lego set at in one of the water parks one day because I was the only one there. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna put together this Lego set. So I've been dreaming of a conference in Wisconsin Dells like that for forever.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, that is just incredible. Oh, and Stina's been there. It is. It's gorgeous. It's really great.
I'll have to check this out because I have no idea. I
Oh,
didn't know it existed until you mentioned it. So
it
I
is.
know.
It's fantastic. They've got these huge rock formations and like boat tours that will like take you down the Wisconsin River, and you can see all this stuff and these amazing restaurants. And there's a casino, and there. I mean, it is. It is Wisconsin Vegas. Um, so just a lot of drinking, really. But I mean, it's a family-friendly place and stuff like that. So, and the amphibious boats, yes, we've got the ducks. The Wisconsin Dells Ducks tours are great too. So, this
Yeah.
is there we go. If we could have a round table and call it a conference, right?
It's true. I mean, at what point does it become a conference?
Right. Yeah. Good deal. Okay, awesome. All right. So what else should someone who's trying to work in Direct Lake know right now, Zoe, like that we haven't talked about? What have we missed? What have we not covered? What should we be looking at? What shouldn't, like what's the thing we should be doing right now?
Yeah, so I mean, you should absolutely be trying out Direct Lake, right?
Mm-hmm.
Try it out, see what, put some data in it, check it out, see what, see how fast it is, see how much data you can put in there. I mean, these are the things that we want you to try it out. We want you to tell us if you run into issues, right? We want to know. I mean, that's what the whole point of public preview is, right? So we put it out there. We need this feedback. We need you to use it, right? We need to see that, happening. Those are the things that we need right now, right? And so waiting for, a lot of times, oh, well, I'll wait till GA, blah, blah, blah. But we actually really do need this feedback now, right? We are actively working on it. We have, a lot of engineering resources thrown at it. So stuff that comes now gets addressed, right? We will look at it, absolutely 100% look at it, and we will take action, right? So those are the things that we need right now to be 100% transparent. Like, this is absolutely what we need.
And fair enough. I mean, I think that does make a ton of sense. And, so plus it's before GA, so real easy to make changes.
Yes.
That once it goes GA, there's a lot more heavy lifting because now you got documents and you've got support staff and you've got communication plans.
Exactly. I mean, we have a lot of stuff out there already, around it and everything. We have there's a lot just to push it to public preview, right? But really, that is what we need. I mean, and if you run into a blocker, you're like, I tried this XML script. I scripted everything out. I did everything. It's supposed to run. I ran low speed errors. Like, we need to hear that. What we say, I can't do this because I can't do blah, right? Put on ideas form and get all your friends to like it. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Mean, because that helps. I mean, because otherwise, how will we know? If you don't tell us, how will we know?
No, that and very fair. I think that's one of the prime reasons why I try really hard to get in and start to work with these tools right away, because I know that it's like now's the time to influence the direction that the ship is going. And if we could change it now, much easier. And if we can't, then, well, I think we
It
just
was
have a
so
longer challenge, right?
exactly. I mean, things, we want to make sure we get it, and we want to make sure we answer all these big issues before GA, right? We want
Hmm.
to make sure that these things are in place and make sure the stuff like the XMLA endpoint, right? Opening that up, right? We heard a lot of feedback from even the private preview that this is, that's something that's really important, right? So
Yep.
that was prioritized number one, right? So these feedback things really do drive kind of our priorities. So try it out. Let us know why you're not trying it out. I mean, those kind of things, go to the ideas forum, if you have, contact MVPs, right? And,
Sure.
MVPs can chat with us and stuff like that. So go those routes, because this is the feedback that we absolutely need right now. I
Wow.
think that I'll see. I'll get back to you because I'm not sure if we have like anything else, any other paths directly for Direct Lake or Fabric. And if we do, I'll let you know. I don't know off the top of my head if we do, but like
Okay.
you can also email me. I mean, really, when I say we really need this feedback, we really need this feedback.
Yeah. No, I
My
I
email
get
is
it. And
my first name, last name at Microsoft.com. Email me.
uh,
I'm love to hear from you.
okay. I will admit I have the code someplace on my desktop. I've been kind of looking for it of the issue I had. I was not able to find it during the course of the live stream while talking with you, so I won't fumble around in my desktop. But I'll see if I can spin it up and see if I still have a chance on this.
Yeah, absolutely. And yes, you're like government clients, right? Say it.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's fantastic. Like, and we know that's that's an issue, and that has a whole bunch of other requirements that go to it, of course. For those kind of those clouds and stuff. So we need to make sure everything's good for that. But yes, absolutely.
sure. Hey, along those lines, has there been announcements around when the government tenants or government cloud will
Not that
have
I'm
it?
aware of.
Okay, all right.
I mean, I could have missed something, but not that I'm aware of. So no,
Yep.
not that I know of.
Yeah, and Donald Parrish is actually right. You can create your own dev account out there with a 365 dev account, and then you can try this stuff out for free. And then it is super easy. So uh, do consider doing that. Frankly, I absolutely love having a dev account that's like
Yeah.
mine. It's my stuff. I can go out there, I can screw stuff up, I can play with it, and I don't have to worry about like, oops, I screwed up my work or my client or anything like that, right?
Exactly. I mean, even before I joined the product team and I had my own, right?
Hmm.
And it set it up and I followed the videos that were available out there. And it is because then you get to play, you get to do whatever you want, you turn things on, see what happens,
Yep.
and that kind of stuff. And you do that in a kind of protected space that's not going to impact a
Right.
whole bunch of people. So,
Right. And yeah, yeah, yeah. That's incredibly
and
smart. So
Fabric is still on trial, it's still free to use. I mean, and that's a lot of stuff for free.
yeah, I was just looking the other day. In fact, looked yesterday. My 59-day trial is still at 59 days. So I'm very excited to keep that number at 59. That is,
But I did a live stream last year, and then they were stuck on it. The PPU was stuck, and then after that,
oh.
their PPU came out unstuck, and I was like, I swear I did nothing. I did nothing. I have no control of these things. Okay. I appreciate you think I might have any say, but I have none. It's licensing. Okay.
So apparently, Donald, it starts to countdown as soon as Zoe ends this live
Mine's
stream.
still all at 59 as well.
Okay. Awesome.
It was actually cut down. There was somebody else in Microsoft on this thing, not me.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. All right. Oh, that's funny. All right. Well, we are at the hour. Zoe, do you have any parting recommendations or things for people to know or do when it comes to OneLake or anything at Microsoft?
I mean, yeah. I mean, obviously, I've said my main one, which is please try it.
Okay.
Let me know, and stuff like that. But yeah, no, we are actively working on it. We're adding everything. We're adding as much as we can to it as soon as we can. I mean, this is like our priority, right? We want to make this we want, obviously want everything to be successful, but we want it to be customers to be successful, right? We want to have this direct lake experience work and be useful. And, that is our vision, right? To bring, best in class power, professional BI and using, this stuff. And so that is really our goal. And so, sometimes it's not clear how we get there, and I'm not allowed to tell you all the cool things I want to tell you. Trust me, I want to tell you everything. But
Stupid NDAs.
I know, right? And we've already said, we've actually been pretty transparent with like the DAX query view. Like we've shown that, we've shown our Copilot in it. I mean, these are stuff that we're actively working on, right? And for Direct Lake, I mean, as soon as we bring it, as soon as we have it available, we'll try to get it out to you as soon as possible. And we are actively working on it. But yeah, give us your feedback. We need that feedback.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Zoe, thank you so very much for not just joining us today, but bearing through the grilling and bearing through the slings of arrows of outrageous fortune as people ask,
Well,
challenging
hopefully I still have a job tomorrow, so all good.
If you ever have a problem, you let me know. All right. No guarantees, but we'll see what we can do. But thank you, Zoe, so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you coming in.
Well, thanks for having me. I love to be able to talk about all this stuff, and hopefully I will be showing even more cool things in the near future.
Oh, that's fantastic. And hey, you there, you sitting listening to us right now. Thank you guys for joining us today and every time. Yeah. How'd you do that? I'm not. Clearly way too old for this. I'm not can't do it. I didn't know what you did.
There you go. You need the team start one,
Almost. There we go. Oh, I see. All right. Oh, old man. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. I love getting to do this and get to talk with every one of you guys. Join us on Friday, where Kevin is going to be showing us how you can go in and set up your own accounts and create your own. Is that what it is? No, I'm getting word. No, that's not what Kevin's talking about. Okay, so apparently I don't know what Kevin's talking about off the top of my head, but join us on Friday, Fabric Fridays, 7:30 to 8:30. We're going to be going deep into Fabric. You guys have a great day. Peace. Baker Tilly Digital combines strategic industry insight and advanced technical expertise to uncover and solve your digital transformation challenges. If you're interested in learning more, check out our website at bakertilly.com/digital.